I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh,
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time.
It was just, what?
Back in the last 6 rounds with AJ, in my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
Little up, but will you take care of me forever and ever?
When Anthony Joshua finally delivered the crushing 6th-round knockout that halted Jake Paul's ambitious run in their blockbuster heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's live reaction captured the shockwave felt across combat sports. Having repeatedly warned about Joshua's devastating one-punch power, Rogan reacted instantly as the blow landed, emphasizing the danger Paul accepted. He framed the finish as more than a stoppage, calling it a defining moment, one that may be remembered among the most violent, dramatic, and unforgettable knockouts boxing has ever produced on the sport's modern global stage today.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided...
The bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Anthony Joshua entering as the clear favorite thanks to his elite experience and significant size advantage. Standing 6 feet 6 inches and weighing roughly 243 pounds to Jake Paul's 216, Joshua gradually took control after a cautious start. In the 5th round, he dropped Paul multiple times before sealing the outcome in the 6th, delivering a devastating right hand at 131 that sent Paul crashing to the canvas and prompted the referee to wave off the fight.
Anthony Joshua, Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career to...
Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul became one of the year's most discussed fights, not only because of the personalities involved, but because it highlighted a sharp collision between traditional heavyweight boxing and the modern social media-driven influencer era of combat sports.
Performance by Jake, brother.
Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He has such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Joshua's a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world. So I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times.
No, sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
The Ngannou, so many people, bro. The overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are gonna say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
He showed a ton of heart, right? What's next for Jake Paul? Where does he go?
Joshua, a former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, entered the bout as an overwhelming favorite. Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer, leveraged his massive platform to attract new audiences to boxing, despite skepticism from purists. Still, very few believe he had a realistic chance against genuine elite heavyweight power.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City. And I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua spoke candidly about his performance, acknowledging that while he secured a 6th-round knockout, he didn't feel it was his best effort and believed he could have performed far better. He admitted struggling early to land clean punches and finding it difficult to trap Jake Paul as quickly as expected. Joshua described the outcome as a win, but not a complete success, stressing that despite the victory, there is still significant room for improvement in his technique, timing, and overall approach in the ring.
I'm better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're...
Despite the 6th-round knockout, Joshua praised Jake Paul's heart and resilience, noting that Paul repeatedly got up after being floored and continued to compete against a far more experienced former world champion. Joshua emphasized that few fighters would have stepped into the ring against someone of his caliber, and Paul's determination to keep fighting, even in difficult moments, deserved genuine respect for his courage, perseverance, and willingness to challenge himself against elite-level competition.
AJ's won 6 rounds. He kind of dismantled him. He took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean,
Well, he broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know it knocked him out,
Knocked
but he
his
was
teeth
not
out.
unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back
Well,
from.
there's pictures of him in hospital right
Yeah,
now.
well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't. I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line. And, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual
Is that how
work.
you see it in the end?
I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back on.
Jake Paul suffered a broken jaw during his 6th-round knockout loss after Joshua's powerful right hand ended the fight. Bloodied and in pain, Paul admitted in the post-fight interview that he suspected his jaw was broken, and medical confirmation later revealed that his concern was accurate.
What's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man. I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took one.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but, bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one
Bro, I
point.
was trying to get his I think I pissed him off. I was just saying fuck that shit. I love AJ. But bro,
I saw you going them.
I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
Jake Paul leaned into his trademark bravado, posting a screenshot of his x-ray revealing a double broken jaw. He captioned it, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days." Medical scans confirmed a fracture in 2 places, commonly referred to as a double broken jaw. After the fight, Paul drove himself to the hospital for treatment. Recovery was estimated at 4 to 6 weeks. Throughout his healing process, he shared updates and images on social media, keeping fans informed and expressing gratitude for their support while maintaining his defiant resilient persona despite the serious injury.
Nikisa, just down here, Jeffrey from The Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is...
Nikisa Bidarian lauded Jake Paul for his heart, durability, and strategic approach, highlighting that Paul performed impressively against one of the most feared punchers in heavyweight boxing. Bidarian even suggested that Paul may have secured a few rounds early in the fight, demonstrating skill, composure, and a solid game plan. However, he emphasized that the primary factor behind Paul's loss was not a deficiency in boxing ability, but rather the substantial size and weight advantage held by Anthony Joshua. Joshua's heavier frame and raw strength consistently drained Paul's energy, while enabling the former world champion to land powerful, punishing shots. These forceful blows ultimately culminated in the 6th round knockout. Bidarian explained that Joshua's physical dominance was a critical element in wearing Paul down over the course of the bout, illustrating the challenges faced when a smaller opponent squares off against a naturally larger and stronger heavyweight. Despite the defeat, Bidarian stressed that Paul's performance warranted respect for his resilience, courage, and ability to compete effectively against an elite-level opponent in such a high-stakes matchup.
That's what happened. And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has. But I think he might have won a round or 2 or even 3. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's going to fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, what do you think? She goes, Jake's going to win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money. But we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show the world.
Several fighters praised Jake Paul's resilience for stepping into the ring against a former heavyweight champion and lasting until the 6th round, especially considering the significant gap in size and experience. They emphasized his heart and determination, acknowledging that enduring as long as he did was impressive despite ultimately losing by knockout. Promoter Eddie Hearn offered a more measured perspective, recognizing Paul's toughness, but stressing that the fight's outcome was never in doubt. He noted that no one realistically expected Paul to contend with a fighter of Anthony Joshua's caliber, and surviving into the 6th round reflected his durability rather than technical skill. Hearn suggested that the performance underscored the divide between social media crossover fighters and elite professionals. While lasting multiple rounds was commendable, it did not alter the fact that Joshua's experience, strength, and power ultimately dictated the fight and secured the decisive victory.
I mean, first 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and, you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. We're friends now. So, respect to him.
And your message?
Fury, listen, we'll see you.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia took to social media with a blunt, provocative reaction that drew widespread attention in the boxing community. While acknowledging Jake Paul's effort, Garcia made a sharp comparison to high-profile boxer Gervin Davis, tweeting, "I think Gervin would have done him worse. implying that Davis have hit Paul harder or ended the fight even more decisively than Joshua. Many boxing experts echoed this sentiment, questioning the competitive legitimacy of the matchup and suggesting it did not represent elite-level boxing. Criticism of the fight continued even after its conclusion, with some observers arguing that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul bout should never have taken place, highlighting concerns over mismatch experience, size, and the spectacle-driven nature of the event.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in. But if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way anyway?
Critics argue that the size, experience, and skill gap between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media influencer turned boxer was too vast, turning the fight into more of a spectacle than a legitimate contest. They contend that matching Paul against an Olympic-level fighter with genuine heavyweight power carried serious safety risks, highlighted by his multiple knockdowns and the broken jaw he suffered during the bout.
Anthony Joshua being taken 6 rounds by Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside. You were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm going to try. That's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he was supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving. You know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what? I'm going to take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it for after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm going to let him run around, right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out, what happened?
Experts argue that crossover fights like this erode the integrity of professional boxing, prioritizing entertainment and pay-per-view profits over genuine competition, and serving more to generate hype than to showcase true athletic skill.
The bigger picture, you and I are boxing guys. We go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? It was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience.
The mismatch.
Skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, as soon as he landed the first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for
To
it
get
not
it
to
out
happen
of our
again.
system.
Right.
Yeah,
In order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a fan of her.
What's your take? Was this fight a true test of boxing skill, or just a spectacle that shouldn't have happened? Share your thoughts in the comments below.